We're here for review hearings, and we're conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming, and Ms. Taylor's making our record. We'll take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Ada Ledford is my worker today, pharmacy specialist. We're present. I don't see Ada. Is she in the?
I don't have anybody else in the waiting room right now.
Tibby, was Ada doing it today, or was Jalissa going to do it?
It was supposed to be Ada.
Okay.
I don't have anybody in the waiting room.
Let me reach out to her real quick.
Okay.
She's having some difficulties.
Natalie Archer for the mother, Mary Navarrete.
Brooks Barfield ad litem for Yesenia.
Okay, Mr. Turman had submitted a letter. He's had no contact with Mr. Orosco and then had nothing to report this morning. And the mother, Mary Navarrete, is also present with us.
Well, I can't reach her, so I'm your go-to today.
Okay. I've read the report, obviously. So, mainly it was just if we had anything new. Ms. Zavala may even know if there's anything new, but
Brooks is that.
I mean Brooks. I'm sorry, Mr. Barfield. But I have reviewed the report. So, does anybody know if we've got anything new?
You're on.
Sorry, go ahead, Brooks.
No, go ahead, please, Tibby. Go ahead.
She has been to the doctor. Finally, they had some problems with the doctor canceling and rescheduling, but she has been. We're still waiting on the birth control to be prescribed for her to help control her menses. We're having difficulty with the dentist. She has gone, but she won't let the dentist touch her. So we're looking for a dentist who can do the anesthesia for her to put her under to be able to do it. Okay. She's going to school. She's doing wonderful in school. There's no concerns at all there.
And what about contact with siblings? She's still having contact?
Yes. Mary schedules her visits we have a contractor who watches them. She's coming usually twice a month. She'll make it. Sometimes she's missed. It was difficult in the beginning of the summer because she had Cassandra graduating and Jacinta. But now everything is going fine. She brings Cassandra with her, and Yesenia really enjoys seeing Cassandra.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, Mr. Barfield?
Yes, ma'am. I spoke with placement yesterday, Nikita specifically. There were some concerns, I believe, on behalf of Miss Archer's client in regards to, I believe, on a visit, there was concerns about Yesenia maybe having some greasy hair and maybe some body odor. So I went ahead and checked on that. I spoke with placement, and one of the things that placement told me was she typically gets a bath daily. Sometimes Yesenia just absolutely refuses to get in the shower, bathe, stuff like that. My understanding is visits are on Saturday. It was explained to me by Nikita that Saturday's kind of a Yesenia sleep-in day. She likes to kind of sleep in, take a break, or usually during the week they're up early and everything like that. She said also one of the issues is so sometimes on Saturdays she hasn't had that bath and shower. I think when the visit took place, I voiced concern that on that issue, I was assured by placement. We had a very pleasant conversation that this was not a normal occurrence. And so that's kind of, hopefully that addresses that issue. Hopefully we won't have any problem with that. She said one of the problems is when and I'm going to quote here. She said she's a girl, and sometimes during certain times of the month, the odor can be a bit, if she doesn't bathe and stuff like that. So I think I handled that quite delicately. So I'm proud of myself. So other than that, I don't have any other concerns necessarily. I would just, if there's problems in the future, just let me know, and I will. I mean, as soon as I heard from Miss Archer, I got. Obviously, I didn't go down to Lubbock, but I got on the phone and immediately talked to placement. And placement was very good about answering my phone and speaking with me and seemed to be very forthright. She did report also that Yesenia, she's kind of got her speaking a little bit. And she said, other than that, she's doing pretty well. So, that's kind of what I have to report. So I guess my recommendation would be for placement to continue and us to keep moving forward.
Okay, and Ms. Archer?
I just want to consult with Miss Navarrete. Did that answer your concerns, Miss Navarrete? that we
Yes, it
talked
did.
about? Okay.
Yes.
Do you
Thank
have
you.
anything else that you're worried about, or does that bring
Just
some of that?
just that they has the patient have been asking for body spray and shampoo and stuff like that for her. They said that she still hadn't received her check. And when I talked to Makita Saturday, she said that she did that they started giving her a check, but she still hadn't received any kind of payment yet.
And who is that?
For Yesenia, I talked to the lady that picked her up, Nikita.
And I
Nikita's
didn't know.
place. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brooks, do you know anything about the checks by chance?
She didn't mention, maybe that it was rectified, but Nikita did not mention anything whatsoever about any type of monetary issues whatsoever.
I can answer that question.
When I spoke.
The checks have been going to the agency since March. They switched over rep payee to them. So the agency is getting the checks. It's a process within their own agency to give her spending money.
Okay.
Is that normal? Is that typical, Ms. Watson?
Yes, through the HCS slots, a portion of their checks, they are able to take 66% of the SSDI to apply towards room and board, and then the remaining amount is put in a bank for the individual. I say a bank, an account for them to buy their purchases, like if they need additional Depends, if they need special products for their hygiene, things like that.
But do we know that that's happening?
We confirmed with Anthony Badke, who is the DFPS Social Security person, and he confirmed that they have been getting the checks. So if she needs something additional, we can make sure she has it.
Well, I guess my question is, I want to make sure that other 34% is going into an account for Yesenia.
Yes, they have to track it. They're audited by HCS to make sure. They have to do monthly reports on them and everything.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I gave Nikita, she did mention this, I gave Nikita my number and said if she has any, given Yesenia I can't communicate her, if she had any concerns about anything, I told her, give me a call, use me as an additional resource if she has any comments, questions, or concerns, and I would make sure the appropriate parties were notified for what that's worth.
Okay, well, I think a lot of these issues are very common and very typical with individuals with autism. And certainly I've heard this before with other kids. I'm not hearing anything that isn't just very typical. So, everybody just has to deal with it the best they can deal with it. And sometimes you just have to pick your battles, but overall, then it sounds like she's doing okay. So, and I'm glad visits are on track. All right, then I'll continue the department as permanent managing conservator, and I'll continue her current placement. And our next review hearing will be April 4th. We're here for a review hearing 2020, conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, we'll take announcements.
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Jalissa Bird is my permanency specialist. We're present ready.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of the boys.
LB Stashy with Costa, and I have my advocate, Michael Davis.
All right. What do we have new since the court report was filed?
Good morning. So Tayshawn is still currently is on the run. So we're just continuing efforts to look for him. I heard from him in August through text and just continuing looking for him. And then Quavian, he's currently in placement. We are looking to maybe move him closer to region to maybe have more I think more contact would be a lot easier for him in placement. So that's currently my update. He's doing well. He's playing football, going to school, doing pretty well in placement from my understanding.
Has he had any contact with his brother that he's reported?
He's not supposed to have a cell phone. I know there's been a couple of times where he did get his cell phone. He's told me he hasn't had contact with him, but I believe he told Casa, he mentioned something about his brother, and we kind of have an idea that he possibly has had contact with his brother.
Okay. Any leads on Tayshawn's whereabouts?
Not at this time. I've been working with the SI on the case. I did get a random text from a cousin that, didn't state who they were. I believe it was Tayshawn. So I did give that to the SI, and we're just kind of continuing to follow any leads we have. We do believe he's possibly in Amarillo. So we're hoping to hear from him soon and just try to get him back into care. I know he wants to be with his brother. So.
Okay. Well, that's all we can do. Do we have even any, what would be unauthorized type placements for Tayshawn if we locate him? I mean, are there any family members in Amarillo that he might, hunker down and stay in one place?
Right. At this time, we don't. We had two different connection specialists on this case. We found family members, but a lot of times, either they're elders and, can't or don't, can't be placement, I guess you could say. And a lot of the family members don't know any other family members, or if they do, they just won't answer the phone after a while. It's really hard to find any family or even friends on this case. So no, not at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, all right, Ms. Zavala.
So I was able to Zoom with Mark Quavian last night. He seemed really good. It was a really good interaction. I think he is excited about playing football. It does sound like he's got to miss a decent number of practices just because all that's going on in the group home, and if one person has to go home, so he was frustrated about that. When I asked him about Tayshawn, he seemed genuinely like, no, have you heard from him? Can you give me an update? Now, I don't know, but he made it sound like he had not had at least recent contact with him. His one concern is he does want to be closer, and he knows from talking to Jaleesa that is potentially in the works, and he really kind of wants to know when he can move back up here somewhere. So that was his one big concern that he wanted me to address.
Okay. Well, my understanding from what Ms. Bird says, then we're actively looking. So, okay. All right. All right. And Casa.
I've been talking to Mark Quavian about once a week, and everything everybody says is about the same. He's really enjoying football, which that's good because it's got his grades up. So now he's passing all of his classes. I haven't had any contact with Tayshawn either. Been trying to get a hold of him through Facebook. I might have found a Facebook account, but I haven't been able to get any replies or anything yet.
Okay.
And once again, every time I talk to Mark Quavian, it's the same thing. He's just trying to get back up into this area. So that's always his main concern.
Okay. All right. Well, we're looking, so maybe we can make that happen like in a semester. If he's playing football, enjoying it, I kind of hate to pull him out of that, but maybe we could line something up and, move him at the semester.
That was one of my concerns. That was one of my concerns too. So I asked him about that, and he's like, no, if I could move now, I'd rather move now. But the fact of the matter is we may not have a place for him that soon.
Yeah.
So he did want me to express that choosing between the two, he'd rather be here, but I do think football's been really good for him.
Yeah.
I do have concerns also about him coming back to Amarillo, getting back in with the crowd he was hanging with, running away. Those are huge concerns for Mark Quavian.
Yeah. Big concerns for me too. Especially especially if Tayshawn's in this area. It's ultimately that contact will be made.
I'm wondering if we could start with Lubbock.
That might be a possibility. Maybe someplace like Texas Boys and Girls Ranch or Shoal, or if we can even find him a therapeutic foster home.
Well, I mean, all the kids that I've had that have been in Texas Boys and Girls Ranch have loved it there. I've had one or two that it wasn't, it didn't necessarily float their boat, but most of them really seem to like it there and seem to thrive there. So I think that may be a good idea. Get him a little closer, but not right in the epicenter. All right, then I will continue the department as permanent managing conservator, continue his placement. And, that's fine for us to look. I'd really kind of like to, well, let me put it this way. If there are any concerns about when to change, when to move him, or, what are we looking at, then y'all let me know if we need to get together and talk about the pros and cons. Otherwise, we'll review again April 4th, 2024. So, if something comes available and we're kind of like, well, I don't know, unless it's clear cut that we want to pull that trigger, then just let Miss Katie know and we'll get together and talk about it. We're here today on a review. Okay, thank you so much. Through Zoom, we're live streaming, and Miss Taylor's making our record. All right, we'll take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Mavis Opuko Asante is my pregnancy specialist, and we are present ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Lazaria.
All right. Well, are we looking for placement?
Lazaria just moved into a new placement yesterday, so.
Okay. Where did we place her?
In Houston.
Okay. How'd that go?
Oh, everything went well. I called last night and she had settled in.
Okay. All right. What facility is she in?
St. Georgia.
And it's an RTC, right?
Yes. It's a GRO.
GRO, okay. All right. Anything else to report?
No, not really. She's doing fine.
All right. Is she on track in school?
Yes.
Okay. How does she do in school?
Well, she did well. She had to do summer school because she didn't pass some of her classes, but overall she did good.
All right. Ms. Ball?
So when Lazaria was in Levelland, I was able to visit with her fairly frequently. I'd seen her about 3.5 weeks ago and things were good. I wasn't aware of the discharge. I wasn't aware of the move and placement. We had gone back and forth with some calls from her previous placement, trying to talk with her, but just found out yesterday that she was being moved. So I'm unaware as to why the move or what's going on.
All I know is what I read in Ms. Opuko Asante's report, which was due to aggressive behaviors and her anger issues, that they gave a 14-day discharge. And I don't know if there was a specific incident, but that what I read was due to behavior.
I can talk about a specific incident. On 8/14, she had a fight with one of her peers, and the other girl had a large bruise at the back of her neck. So that really necessitated them to do the 14-day discharge, because she was always fighting. She would kick and then kick walls, punch holes in walls, kick stuff, anybody. She would put her physical aggression on. So it was too much for the facility and they decided to give her discharge.
All right, Ms. Zavala, that answered the question.
Yeah, and in the messages back and forth that Lazaria was able to get me, she had a question about contact with family members. So I haven't been able to pin that down as to who exactly she's wanting contact with, because the message talked about parents, but I don't think she's had contact with parents in quite some time. So now that I've got her new placement info, I'll be able to check in with her there and find out exactly what it is that she's requesting.
She's a sister, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder if it's the sister.
No, she talks to her sister.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know why Ms. Zavala wasn't in the loop about the discharge or the move, but when stuff like that happens, she needs to be. All right, well, I guess we try to get her settled in here. This issue came up in a prior hearing. Is she working or will she be working with a behavioral therapist?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, anybody have anything else to add?
Just, Ms. Zavala, do you have her new placement's contact information now?
I do. We got it yesterday.
Okay. I have nothing else, yeah.
Ms. Bell, if you can determine who it is she's wanting to talk to, as long as you think it's an appropriate individual, you know, I don't have a problem with her having contact. You know, just as long as we have some assurance that it's productive, you know.
Sounds good. I'll be
Yeah,
checking her.
doesn't need to be anybody that's going to get her riled up and
your
hopes up and make false promises or anything like that. So we'll check it out. All right, then I'll continue the department as permanent managing conservator, and we'll continue her current placement. We'll have our next review April 4th of 2024. That's a 9 o'clock docket. But let me just ask, I'm sorry, I'm going to back up real quick. When was her last NED review?
It was on 9/13.
No, okay, so very recently. All right. Did they change anything up?
Yeah, they took one off.
Okay. Any repercussions from that could be, you know, pinned back to that, or
No, I saw her at on last week, and she was fairly fine. She didn't complain about any medication issues. She says she's fine.
okay. All right, then I'll see everybody back April 4th for another review.
7, 2, 6, 8, 0, 7, 8.
We're giggling
Hey,
at
Brandon, you
Brandon.
gotta
You're not
whisper
muted.
You gotta whisper that number out to yourself to remember.
We're here today on a review hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom or live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, we'll take everybody's announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Brandon Hernandez is my permanency specialist today. We're present ready on it.
Stacy Zavala for the kids.
Okay, placement is present with us on the telephone, and Mr. Hernandez, what do we have new?
Yes, Judge. So we're trying to see where grandma is currently at being licensed. I had called Presbyterian who she was using, and they had stated that they had dropped grandma due to no progress being made. We were wanting to address that the caseworker moving forward will also have FaceTime calls with grandma monthly.
And I can ask some questions on that, Your Honor.
Okay.
Mr. Hernandez, we'll start with the FaceTime calls. Have you currently been having issues getting FaceTime calls with the boys?
Yes, yes.
How often do you actually get through to have that done?
I usually give grandma a call and send her a text or one or the other, and just to see if I can give her a call. We've had some issues just with getting answers back.
So, around was the last time you had a FaceTime call with the boys?
I have not had a FaceTime call with the boys. I usually get my information from the LPS worker, or grandma will kind of give me a brief description on how the boys are doing.
Okay, so you haven't been able to get through to do that.
No.
Okay. Do you try to do that once a month?
Yes, I send messages or call grandma a couple times a month, just asking the boys or if I can get any information on them.
And Your Honor, what he's talking about, we'll be changing workers on this case at the end of the week. Mr. Hernandez, I think, is moving on or moving the case, but we'll have a new worker starting at the end of the week, and we're hoping that the new worker will be able to get the FaceTime calls done monthly with the boys.
Okay. So we have placement on the telephone. Ma'am, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me explain a couple things to you. By law, the caseworker assigned to your case or to the children, they are required to see these children monthly. And that means not just hear about them. That means they need to put eyes on them. And the boy's attorney, ad litem, Ms. Zavala, is also required to see them on a periodic basis and talk with them. And so this isn't the first that I've heard that we're having trouble getting through to you or to the children. So we got to change that. As long as these children are in the state's custody, which they are, I know they're living with you, but we have legal custody of the children, so we are legally responsible for them. So, so that's one topic. We've got to improve communication.
Okay, I do meet with Vicki Graham once a month.
Okay.
She always sees the kids.
All right.
She always inspects the house.
But
I thought she was acting on Brandon's part.
Well, yes and no. But
well, that's what it explained to me.
Okay, so I'm just trying to clear all of that up so that there's no questions about it. So when someone from St. Francis or Ms. Zavala reaches out to you, I mean, it is imperative that you respond to them. It's imperative that when they need to see the children, that they can see them either FaceTime or in person.
Okay.
You know, we've got to be able to fulfill the due diligence that the state says we have for these children. So, so that kind of brings me back around to the licensing and the adoption. I mean, when I reviewed the report for this hearing today, you know, the questions that I put in my note was, you know, where are we with it? How close are we to adoption? What can we do to assist and maintain the placement with the children? That there have been some reports that maybe at times you feel a little overwhelmed. So, you know, we're here to help. We want to help keep the boys in your home and make that successful. And ultimately, we really want the adoption to go forward. So where are you with the adoption? Where do you stand?
Okay, I have reached out to Winnell, the Presbyterian. It's been a couple of weeks and she has not replied to me.
Okay. So, you know, there again, that's something maybe that we can assist with. That either Mr. Hernandez or Ms. Zavala can reach out to them and say, hey, you know, but if they've gotten, I mean, the way I understood Mr. Hernandez is that Presbyterian told him that they have closed it. I guess because they didn't get certain information back. Is that correct, Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, Your Honor.
So is there some information they were needing that you had not sent to them?
I guess so. She sent me some forms over text or email, and she needed a page back that she, as long as she got page 8 back signed, she would start, but there was no page 8 to sign. There was no, I didn't match up the documents with what she was asking for. Vicki was here and she looked over them and she said it looked like paperwork that comes after the fact. I just showed her what Winnell sent to me. So I guess I really just need to meet with Winnell in person and let her bring me hard copies of what she's needing for me to sign.
Is it your intent to move forward to adopt the children?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. All right, then, Mr. Hernandez, I think, what can we do to try to get that back on track as quickly as possible?
Yes, Judge, I'll give them a call, and I'm also going to reach out to a couple of other providers that can get somebody out there ASAP so we can get the process started again.
Okay. All right, so does that sound good to you, ma'am?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. All right. And I think that a face-to-face would certainly be helpful.
Better. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we want to try to get the train back up on the tracks. And so we'll do what we can to help. All I can say, ma'am, is if you're not getting a response from somebody, reach out and let the worker with the main worker with St. Francis know that.
And
or Ms. Zavala. You can always let her know.
Ms. Zavala?
Sorry.
Yeah. Stacy Zavala is the children's attorney.
Mary, you usually talk with Kelly, and I know that you told her the other day that you needed help with the licensing part. And so that's what's being talked about now. So if you continue to have problems with the licensing part, that number from Kelly, give us a call and we'll do anything that we need to try to help get that back on track.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Kelly is in Ms. Zavala's office and is her assistant. So just so you're clear, they're not St. Francis, but they are the children's attorney, guardian ad litem. That's Ms. Zavala's role.
Okay, yes, I just spoke to her yesterday.
Okay. All right, so everybody agrees we want to get this back on the adoption track as quickly as we can.
Yes, ma'am, I apologize for the delay.
Well, we're not here to, squawk about, who did what or didn't do what or any of that. I just want to, we just want to get moving forward again. So, okay. Anybody have anything else to report about the boys?
As far as,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as far as the new worker, it'll be Erin Tyndall will be the new worker after this week. That will be getting in touch with placement on this. But it's kind of been going on for a while. We've been waiting, as we've been talking about, waiting on the adoption process to get going. If Grandma, she says she wants to adopt. If she doesn't feel like that's where she wants to go, we can offer PMC to her also. But we would definitely like to get this process moving along within the next 90 days or so to get this going, because we've been waiting a while for the paperwork to get done on this.
Okay, so she says she wants to go the adoption track. Let's get going on that again. All right, the new worker is going to be Erin
Tyndall.
All right, Erin female, Erin male.
Female, ERIN.
Okay,
sorry.
I just wanted grandmother to know, when she gets a call from somebody that's who it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Ms. Zavala, you started to say something too.
I was just saying that I understand that the kids are doing really well in Head Start, and it was nice to hear that. And I'm glad. I know Grandma's got her hands full, so I'm glad to see that they're in that Head Start program to kind of give everybody a second to breathe and catch up.
I agree, because that was one of my questions: is what can we do to help grandmother you know, get a little bit of respite and you know, maintain the placement. So, ma'am, is there anything else that you want to talk about or that you need to address?
No, there's not.
Okay. All right, then. I will continue the department as permanent managing conservator, and I will continue their placement with their grandmother. And we'll have our next review hearing on April 4th of 2024. That's on a 9 o'clock docket. I hope that we're either done or well on our way to being done at that point. So, okay. Thank you very much.